love my HBCU. And boy, I love it, love it. I love it, love it. I love my HBCU. And man, I hope my team they won one. I hope my team they won one. Yeah, man. I hope my team they won one. I hope my team they won one. I tune into the HBCU Sports Lab to see if my team won or lost. If they lost, I'm quiet as a mouse. But if they won, keep tab. I'ma do the dab, yeah. Dr. CAVIL'S, he know what he be talking about. Mike and Charles, they know what they be talking about. They compress the analytic data with the hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they won or lost, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. CAVIL'S with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Oh wait, maybe not. For the HBCU Sports Lab. Welcome to episode 634 of Inside the HBCU Sports Lab radio show and podcast. The show that's covering the sporting HBCU dash for all things HBCU sports for institutions large and small, from the NAIA to the NCAA. We share insights and information on the HBCU sports culture, HBCU athletic aesthetics to facilitate the story of HBCU athletic programs and the business of HBCU sports. In short, we just call it HBCU sports pedagogy. I'm your host, Dr. Kenyatta, along with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. We're filming from our home studios and sending a signal live at K-Sway's 1230 AM studios with the Texas Radio Hall of Famer, multi-Hall of Famer Ralph Cooper, in a beautiful home at Texas Southern University from Houston, Texas. With that being said, let's actually bring on the co-host of the day. We have none other than Bryan and Dave. Bringing us in, and that is Bryan Fulton and David Rhodes. Professor Fulton, Professor Rhodes. Starting with you, Professor Rhodes, how you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing great, man. It's been a chaotic day in the SWAC tournament so far, I've seen. But otherwise, I'm doing excellent.
The man, second in charge of chaos. He likes it. As we have Bryan spinning a little bit, we'll bring him in here shortly as we get that taken care of. And asked him how he's doing. But today's episode of Inside the HBCU Sports Lab is sponsored by THG Agency. THG Agency is a company that provides sporting and educational consulting and data analytics. With that being said, Bryan, how are your analytics going today?
Doc, I'm doing well. So far, it's a 3-0 day, first day in the SWAC. I had Bethune-Cookman women. I had to sweat it. I had their team total over 49 and a half. And I'm telling you, I was worried. I had more confidence than the Wildcat Cat Eye Network did down the stretch, because they were panicked. They just swore the game was over with about 30 seconds. And I kept trying to tell them, I'm like, y'all did this on Saturday. Why don't y'all believe? Y'all just did this same crap on Saturday. You don't believe. And sure enough, what happens? Bam. And then I got a double with Grambling. Grambling minus the 4.5 and Grambling team total over 67. So I'm feeling good right now. Feeling good. A little nervous about this, about what's about to happen, but I'm good. I'm good so far.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Exciting basketball. I think somebody talked about it yesterday that a couple of games were going to go overtime, and you got one of them. It was just one overtime, but you all were on the money, so you might need to be taking some stuff to the bank if things are working out like that for you in terms of what you got going on. But with that being said, let's move forward into it about some of those updates. As you alluded to, I'll jump off with this. Prairie View defeats Bethune-Cookman in the opening first round of the SWAC. That was in overtime, 57-52. Then we have a men's final in that opening set, if you would, in the SWAC, and that happened to be Grambling defeating Alabama A&M 73-56. So that means Grambling will move over to play Southern. And we'll get a little bit into that. Obviously, later on tonight, you have Prairie View and FAMU. But as things are going on, we'll get into the SWAC opening round, second games going on, and you have FAMU and Valley. They're knotted as they go a little bit back and forth. FAMU is up 44-42. It's end of the third. So don't shake your head. That's a good thing. You're up.
I'm smiling. He's shaking his head. I'm smiling.
Oh, Dave got on here and he was like, "Hey man, you're feeling good." This is where we were at like 5 or 6, and I said, "Dave, is it the fourth quarter yet?" No, it's not. I said, "That's where."
You say relax.
If Valley keeps it close, I like my chances of being right. I like my chances.
Goodness. Let's get into some talk while we have teams playing out of the MEAC and SWAC to get in tournaments, as well as A&T on the women's side from the CAA. We had some other teams that made some tournaments in NCAA, and we have some Black College Invitational Championships. We'll get into that a little bit to see who's in that or who's not, maybe. But with that being said, moving forward, Bryan, what's on your mind today in the HBCU sports world?
Well, I want to recognize the schools that are going to be playing in the NAIA tournament, which begins Friday. This Friday, the NAIA tournament begins. It's a 64-team field. For those who aren't familiar with the format, they play in 16 quadrants of 4. So in one location, you will have 4 teams. So essentially your first round and second round games played on a campus site. The winners of each 16 sites advance to what they the name escapes me, but I think it's not Sweet 16, but it's like
no, that's been
that's trademark. So it's something else. It's like the round. Yeah, it's like the round of 16 or something like that.
I know the NIT calls it Super 16, but I don't know what the NAIA calls it.
Yeah, the NAIA calls it something else, but they all go to one location. So that is where. So the 16 teams that are left, they all are in a neutral site. I think it's in Kansas City, is where they play. So with that said, the quadrants that make up the NAIA begin on the women's side with Langston, who's actually hosting. Langston is at host site, one of the 16 host sites. They are in the Naismith quadrant as a 4 seed. They will take on the Blue Mountain Christian team, here on this weekend, Friday. Again, this is the first season under Chris Vincent, who was a former assistant coach on the men's side. In the Kramer quadrant, Xavier University, they are a 6 seed, but they are also a host site. So Xavier will be playing at home. Their first round matchup is against Southeastern in Florida. So the second year in a row that the Gold Nuggets are in the tournament. Of course, Bo Browder, always does a great job with his teams. So we'll see Kinzula advance to the round of 16. Then you have Philander Smith, the champions of the HBCU AC. They are in the Liston quadrant as a 16 seed, and they will face Indiana Wesleyan, a team that went 26-2 in the regular season. Stillman College, they are in the Liston quadrant as well. They are an 11 seed. Their first round matchup is against Rio Grande out of Ohio. Of course, Stillman was the regular season champ in the HBCU AC. And then Florida Memorial, the Lady Lions, won the Sun Conference at regular season tournament. They are the Liston quadrant 7 seed. They will take on IU Northwest. So the Liston quadrant has 3 HBCU women teams in it. Then over on the men's side of the bracket, you have Florida Memorial men. They are in the Naismith quadrant as a 9 seed. They will take on Friends Kansas out of Kansas. The Florida Memorial men, they finished their regular season 23-7. So this is the second straight year that they've actually gone to the NAIA. The Langston men, who they won their 3rd consecutive Sooner Athletic Conference title. They are a 4 seed in the Naismith quadrant. They are hosting against St. Mary out of Kansas. Of course, very familiar Langston last year, the tournament runner-up. Xavier University, the men, they are in the Kramer quadrant as a 14 seed, taking on Ave Maria. Dillard University, they are in the Dewar quadrant as a 15 seed. They are the HBCU AC men's tournament champions, taking on William Woods of Missouri. And then Stillman College, the men, who are the regular season champions of the HBCU AC, they're in the Liston quadrant as a 16 seed, taking on LSU Alexandria. So you actually have Stillman, Langston, Xavier, and Florida Memorial all sending their men and women's programs to the NAIA. So congratulations to those teams and good luck. We're cheering them on this weekend.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Before we get into our first break, we'll come back with those poll rankings. But Dave, you got any information on the Division II tournaments?
I do not actually. Hold on one second. Division II.
I will say this. One of the things as you're digging for that was interesting to me. People keep saying that there were,
other than the snub of Miles, that was one thing. I felt the way about that. That was a big snub from that standpoint.
That kind of burned me a little bit myself there. But on the men's side, I know people were not necessarily recognizing Bluefield State. I think they got in the IAA. I was like, how y'all gonna do that? Virginia State jumped in there, Fayetteville State, and then Bluefield State. So CIAA got 3 representatives, while on the men's side, SIC just had the one, which was the champion, Savannah State. On the women's side, obviously at Fayetteville State, you also had Virginia State, I believe, and then you got your SIEC representative on the women's side, which was Miles. So Miles got some love, but they had to win the tournament on the women's side to get in.
It becomes a thought about the SIIC because, like, I felt like Miles, I'm going back to men's side, I felt like Miles did more than enough, but then that gives you the perception of what they think of that conference right now because, I mean, they had a phenomenal season. For them to not even get a slot is kind of insane to me. And then on top of that, the fact that the CIAA was able to get 3 teams, which tells you that they respect the strength of that conference. It might come down to what you play out of conference again, but we've always held those discussions in pretty much any sport, right? When we talk about whether or not you're going to get multiple bids and things of that sort, is all about who you play outside of your conference play and how the conference does within those games. It's no different in D2 because I think that's what happened to Miles, which is unfortunate, whether they agree with it or not.
Drew pointed that out, I think last night on our tournament, either last night or Sunday night. I think it was last night. He talked about the percentage because remember Miles was a 7 ranking in the region.
He thought they were,
and we all thought that
they were out. Then he thought they were in. Then they got the real news they were out. And he was
the numbers from other teams. You know, they got jumped basically when you went to those net ratings. So even though the rankings said one thing, the net rating hurt Miles, which
we talk about the net a lot.
Those pesky nets get you every time. With that being said, you see, y'all might know a little bit about this. MEAC here, I know y'all no longer hold allegiance to it, but you know, that I get.
I mean, I know about co-champions.
Let's take our first break. Get on the other side before these two guys get in trouble. We'll be right back after this first break.
It's like a loot machine. All around town, trying to get down. It's like a loot machine.
You're looking for the latest information on Southern University sports, the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and HBCU athletics. There's only one place to go. Tune in to the Carlos Brown Show, exclusively on the Black College Sports Network.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
Hey y'all, it's your girl Sonia from She Say Sports. Make sure to check us out every Friday morning at 9 a.m. on Black College Sports Network, YouTube, and Linktree. And please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube page.
Compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Bill with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington, Charles Bishop. They're out on assignment, so we have none other than David Rhodes and Bryan Fulton. As we start to get into it, let me give you some updates here as we have an exciting one going down in Atlanta. Things opening up in this second game that opens up this opening round for the SWAC, the evening set, and you have FAMU, Mississippi Valley leading now, FAMU 50-49. That's with 4:48 to play in that game. It is certainly an interesting one going on there. Shout out to Sneaker Shop Doc. As he represents Tennessee State. Their basketball season is over that quick. You put on your dancing shoes, and sometimes Cinderella does not answer the door, and it's over before you know it. Things are pretty good going on there. Brian, how is it doing the show and trying to keep your eyes in cheat code? How does that work?
Well, thankfully, I'm not hosting it, so I kind of I'm glancing. I'm sorry about my emotions giving way.
Hey man, it's fun watching somebody that's an alumnus of a school see all the emotions go up and down. I'm glad I don't have to sit through this until Friday. That's my next round of going through emotions. So I get to watch everybody else deal with their emotions.
I'm telling you the tough part is, and I watch games as a coach, and the part that hurts me more than anything is I look at points left on the floor. That's a stat that I always talk about with all of my teams, no matter what level I've coached. I always talk about points left on the floor. And if I had a stat that talked about points left on the floor, and that's missed layups, shots around the rim, and free throws, I swear we've left about 20 points on the floor.
Yeah, I might agree with you there.
And when you see that, that's what's so frustrating. So it's like, again, that's why when I made my selections yesterday, I said, if we stop hurting ourselves, because in basketball, you can do that, even though you are in nature, you are kind of what you are, but you're also looking at the correctable things. Those are correctable things. Like if it were effort, defense, but man, I tell you, that's the hard part.
You guys asked me yesterday what team I was scared of with regards to the Lady Aggies in the tournament coming up this weekend. And I said Charleston. And part of the reason why is because Charleston's very consistent on the floor. They score a lot of points. And we have a habit occasionally during the season to have scoring droughts. A lot of times it happens early in the game. Sometimes it happens near the end of the game. And that becomes devastating when you got somebody that can score at will.
Yeah, that's a great point. I think as a fan, as a coach, you just sick to your stomach at that. As a fan, it really hurts when you go through that process, because you're like, all right, man, if we just would have did this, particularly if it ends up being a close game. But that's why we love sports. With that being said, let's get into the sporting component of poll rankings. Let's look into week 10 as we go into the tournament. Who's at the top? Who is not? We'll see. Looking at the women's rankings. We do have a team that dropped out this week. Howard Bison, while they're just 12-2, their 2 losses are to Norfolk State, one of the top teams up there in terms of their rankings. So fascinating to see what that looks like. But let's look at those receiving votes as we jump a little more into this. Those receiving votes are Howard Bison, 12-2, Jackson State Tigers, 13-5, Grambling State Tigers at 12-6, Cotton State Eagles 8-6, and Maryland Eastern Shore at 8-6 in terms of these teams' conference rankings. We'll get into some overall rankings and give you those 2 in terms of their overall records, I should say. But before we do that, let's get into the top 5 and take a look at what that has in store for us. In terms of the top 5, at number 5, we have Texas Southern Tigers 14-4 and 45. They had a big win over the Rivals, closing out the season. They jumped back in the top 5 after just being out a couple of weeks ago. And then you have number 4. You have Alabama A&M. The Bulldogs are 14-4, 61 points. They rise up from the 5 spot as they continue to close out a solid season. You have number 3, Southern Jaguars, 15-3, 70 points. They dropped a spot this week. They had a loss as they close out the season. They did earn a SWAC championship in the process. And you have number 2, North Carolina A&T, 15-3. Both of those teams, as you see, have the same conference records. A&T takes over a first-place vote and moves from 4-2. They close out the regular season in strong fashion, which included winning a championship for the CAA. The CAA. They hadn't won a CIAA championship in a while. Number 1, State Spartans are putting in those 7 first-place votes. They do earn 7 first-place votes as they just continue to dominate. If they go on a run, I can imagine that they may sweep and get all first-place votes. But right now, not to be as noted, they have 80 points, and they are number 1 for the 10th straight week. With that being said, let me go to you, Brian. What are your thoughts? As I saw you kind of shrug there, something didn't sit right with you, but let's see what that is.
He's also watching what I'm seeing, and I'm ahead of him. I could tell because
that's
showing. As soon as I saw him do this, I said, "Oh yeah, I'm definitely ahead of you, sir."
Wow.
As I look at this poll, Doc, here's what I'm trying to figure out. So Howard must have been the 3 seed or previously ranked 3. Howard's only flaw is that they have lost twice to the number 1 team. Am I correct in that?
That is
accurate. You saw that 12-2. Their only flaw is that they have lost to the number 1 team, and they drop out of the poll. Really? Come on.
Well, also consider the fact is when they lost. They just lost.
I know.
So if they win,
but they were just 3. They were 3. You go from 3 to 6.
I'm with Brian here.
You lose to the number 1 team in the country.
Yes. So you drop.
Yes.
Yeah,
I'm with Brian here, man.
The way you justify these posters, Doc.
But look, I'm trying to give you grace, Doc, only because you did jump my Aggies up to number 2. And shout out to Coach Terrell Robinson. He finally won a Coach of the Year in the conference. In conference, he never did it in the MEAC. He finally got his first one this year.
Never.
He went undefeated. Fun fact: he went undefeated in the MEAC one season. Didn't win it. Won undefeated, ran the table in the tournament. Didn't win Coach of the Year. But he got his first one.
Coach of the Year comes out before you run the table in the tournament.
And still went undefeated in the conference. Still didn't do it. So.
No, that point you can put out there quite a bit. I was just making sure people realize.
Okay, fair enough.
He just made a statement when he won the tournament and be like, yeah, we'll see what y'all feel after I win the tournament.
You ain't kidding, man. It is tough in these streets, but I'm with Brian here, man. I think Howard should stay in the top 5. They've only lost to Norfolk State, and losing to Norfolk State is something that pretty much every HBCU has done this year. Like, I think everybody lost to Norfolk State, A&T lost to Norfolk State, Howard lost to them twice, and that's because they're in the same conference with them.
Yeah, anybody that played Norfolk State lost.
Yeah, I'm just glad we didn't lose by the average. We lost by like around 10, I think, when A&T played them. But overall, man, I think Howard is by far the second best team in the MEAC. And I would have kept them in the top 5. I would probably have left Texas Southern out of the top 5 and keep them there and put them at 5. But yeah, I wouldn't have bumped them out. Losing
you gotta win. You lose, you lost big in Norfolk State. Win in the tournament, and you can jump back in, just like A&T. Everybody was complaining where they were. I said, just win. At the end of the season, things start to float out, and they correct themselves based on when you win and when you lose. This is a week-to-week poll. I keep trying to tell folks, we're not aggregating data over a period of time and saying this is the final poll this week. This is week-to-week. What you do during that week matters.
It's going to be fascinating to see how this goes with regards to this top 5, because we talked about it last night. I don't see Norfolk State losing nobody in that tournament. So, so I think that.
So Southern's overall record is 17-14. Texas Southern's overall record is 15-14. Alabama A&M's overall record is 21-9. When we look at in terms of the MEAC, Norfolk State record is 27-4. Something must have happened good for the Rattlers, as you see.
Sure did.
We're going to allow a little cheering in the show. You know, there's no cheering in the press box. Howard is 19-10 overall. Coppin that's outside is 17-13 to give you that. And then let's look at the Aggies. Overall record is 19-10. Just to give you some comparisons of overall record versus what you see here. With that being said, let's give an update for those that are not following the game or have your eyes on one side. Valley is up 54. Excuse me, FAMU is up 54 to 52 over Mississippi Valley, and that is with 154 left in the fourth quarter. So this looks like it's going down the stretch.
Thanks to a big three-pointer in the corner by Demaya Griffin, by the way.
Heck of a shot by Griffin.
Big three-pointer. She's been missing all game.
A little bit of the color, play-by-play there. Bryan is showing his talent. Let's take our second break. We'll come back on the other side and talk about the men's poll rankings. Before we do that, we'll let Bryan have his statement. And maybe he'll give us a little bit more analysis, too. What you got, Bryan?
Oh, well, I was just going to say the line, would you believe the line on this game was FAMU minus 11.5?
Yeah. Because that's how disrespectful y'all are to Valley. That's why I picked them.
Well, obviously, anybody who's paid attention to Valley recently, this is why there's always advantage plays out there. And if anybody who's paid attention to Valley and FAMU over the last 5 games would know that 11 is that's long odds. So
it is 11 point to beat the 11-point underdog. That's a lot of points in basketball.
I mean,
it's a lot of points in basketball.
Exactly. And Valley has played really well, and they're living up to the proof right now. Just turn it over, but I mean, man, so. All right, let's go to break because I don't want to be talking and then something stupid happened and then I'm
you got to show your face. I hear you. Let's take our second break, come back on the other side and talk about the men's mid-major 5 and see if I do any better on the men's side since these guys didn't like the women. They
I only like just one. It was one team. Just one team.
Okay. All right, that was a little better. We'll be right back after this second break.
Planning an event? From weddings to corporate functions, CMJ Events LLC brings over 15 years of experience to make your vision a reality. Based in Metro Atlanta and serving statewide, even internationally, we provide versatile event planning and authentic catering cuisines tailored to your needs. Whether it's pre-game meals for student athletes, fundraisers, weddings, corporate functions, CMJ Events LLC is your one-stop solution for exceptional service and unforgettable food. Our diverse culinary heritage means we cater to all cultural tastes, dietary needs, and food restrictions, making every meal uniquely yours. Let's make your next event unforgettable. Visit us on all social media at CMJ Events LLC or email us at cmjeventsllc@gmail.com. Also give us a call at 404-664-3882 so that we can start planning now.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta CAVIL'S of Dr. CAVIL'S Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app. As we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. CAVIL'S Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
When you're looking for the latest information on Southern University sports, the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and HBCU athletics, there's only one place to go. Tune in to the Carlos Brown Show, exclusively on the Black College Sports Network.
Thank you guys for what you do for HBCU athletics. This is a fantastic avenue for all of us. This is our ESPN, so we love what you guys do. Brian, AD, Roy, all you guys at BCSN. We really appreciate what it is that you guys do for us.
Press the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
Woo-wee! It's a close one down there.
Absolutely sick.
It's all
I literally turned my head and it's tied.
FAMU with the big layup to tie the game after going down 2. 38.8 seconds left. Valley has the ball, so it'll be interesting to see how things kind of shake up. Brian, how are you holding in?
I can't. I'm holding up. I'm nothing surprises me, but I can't understand.
They've been doing this though.
They have. That's the bad part. They've been doing it.
Like, and that's why I made the decision to pick Valley last night. I'm like,
I'm not mad at you. I
like,
get it.
They have nothing to lose. They are sitting here like straight house money.
We keep a team in. I'm telling you, man, we know how to keep a team around. I mean, we sure enough. I mean, the baseline jump. I mean, go to the basket. We have out rebounded Valley. I don't know I don't have the stats, but it's probably 2-1. We have out rebounded them, but we can't finish around the basket. And I'm scared about trying to inbound the ball. That's the part that worries me. Now
Valley gonna get the last shot. It looks like.
Oh, God,
yes, they are.
And we're going. Okay, so this is a 1-4 set. This is Sabu, the girl who has the ball. All she's gonna do is go to the bucket. The whole goal for her is to get to the rim, which she should be able to do. She missed.
Yeah, I'm ahead of you, man. So I didn't want to spoil it for you. Bro.
Was there a foul though?
No foul. I think they called a timeout.
Oh my God. God help me.
Valley gonna get the last shot.
Jesus Lord.
17.8 seconds left. Relax, man.
Man, you look like you got your coaching hat on for real. With that being said, it's just hard to not laugh. Don't want to laugh at Brian because I've been in the same position. That's for sure. With that being said, let's get into the top five.
Can I say this? I don't know if FAMU can deal with losing to Valley twice in an athletic calendar, right? I don't think we can. That's going to be, man, the S that folks are going to talk on us is going to be hard to recover from. That's all I'm going to say. It's going to be hard to recover from that.
You said it, not I, but you're accurate.
I'm keeping it real.
You're accurate. Yeah, you're accurate though. That's why I didn't want to be the one to say it.
I think the other thing we got to consider too, if Valley does pull this off, is you're talking about the 9 and the 10 seed advanced.
Exactly.
In the women's tournament.
Exactly.
And that's the last thing Brian wanted to hear, Carlos.
But there's more than that. But it's not. But to be fair, it's not just Brian, right? Because there's a lot of folks that weren't fans of like adding additional teams to the tournament.
Oh, I'm totally with you. Carlos is one of them, and I said it. The only thing that I try to get explained, we might talk a little bit through this because this is going to be exciting before we get in this ball, and then we might push the men's to the last segment. But with that being said, what I try to get people to understand is about the tournament is it's the game and it's the magic of sports.
Mm-hmm.
So that's anytime you interject an additional part of the season, playoffs, and people forgot of why you do these championships, why you have the playoffs or the tournaments, which are essentially the same thing. They are to generate money. They were not to talk about that this is some validity of what took in place. When you first hear the history of how playoffs or tournaments took place, it was actually those that were executive of their franchises said, hey, this was exciting. We made a lot of money on the season. How do we extend this? Instead of extending the season, what they said is like, well, let's start things over. Let's start a playoff and we'll take some of the top teams from the long season and do this mini thing. And it took off. It was magical. A lot of folks got excited. They were able to make additional money, which is what they actually wanted. And then before you knew it, it was in that facet. With that being said, looks like still a little bit of time as they're trying to get back into action, trying to hold off a little bit to see if we can get this last play in.
Yeah, they up the time. They up the time to 18 and a half.
You want to make the call, or you want just to?
He's still behind. I'll let him make the call. I'm watching now.
Dave is in front. I'm going.
All right, David, go ahead and know your skills. And
I'm not.
All right, so we got less than 10 seconds left. About 6 seconds left right now. Valley has the ball. Drive it in. Ooh, phenomenal rejection by Griffin. Phenomenal block.
Yep, she tried to do the little scoop shot, David, and she came over without fouling her. Got to the ball first.
Mm-hmm. Still got some time left on the clock, though. About 3 seconds is going to be left on the clock.
Got it at the height of the ball. Great block, like you said.
Phenomenal block.
Great job of defending without fouling, too. I mean,
yeah, man.
Yeah.
Because
are they going to put some time back on the clock? Don't look like they are.
Oh my God.
Or they called the timeout. They're going to probably check and put some time back on the clock. They probably some time left. They probably added another second.
Man, they're doing the right thing, but it drives me crazy. So let's do this. Let's go ahead and take a break. We'll come back on the side. We'll do the poll ranking, and then we'll do the last part of the show in regarding to see if we can get a little bit of energy left on this. So let's take our next break and come back on the other side and do the poll ranking.
Greetings, Santhus. My name is Roland Austin, and I'm one of the directors at the 1876 Athletic Foundation. The 1876 Athletic Foundation was formed to promote the success of all 343 student athletes. Our overall goal is to fund scholarships for all of our student athletes. We ask that you help us in achieving this goal by donating to the 1876 Athletic Foundation via the QR code below or 1876.foundation. Your generous donation will help us continue to assist the needs of all of our Panther athletes. Thanks, and go Panthers.
It's like a loop machine. All around town, trying to get down. It's like a loop machine.
You're looking for the latest information on Southern University sports, the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and HBCU athletics. There's only one place to go. Tune in to the Carlos Brown Show, exclusively on the Black College Sports Network.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
Hey y'all, it's your girl Sonia from She Say Sports. Make sure to check us out every Friday morning at 9 a.m. on Black College Sports Network, YouTube, and Linktree. And please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube page.
Press the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, yeah, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gonna teach a lesson.
Man, we have our second overtime. Brian, give us your analysis of what took place. What did you think of the play call? What do you think of what took place?
Only God. That's all I can say, because she got a good, clean look at the rim. She just overshot it. I mean,
kind of hesitated on the dribble too. Like it almost looked like she didn't have enough time to get it in.
It looked like she lost it. So I don't know. They didn't go and look at the whether she actually got it off in time. Thankfully, that doesn't have to come into factor. But it just for the fact that she was able to get that ball and turn around and get a clean look. I mean, that's about as good as you could get with how much time was it? Was it 2
1 second? I was kind of shocked that they didn't add any more time on the clock, by the way. I thought they could have added some time back on the clock, but
that was longer than a second though, Dave. That was a slow clock. If that was only a second, that was a slow clock.
Look, I was looking at the clock down here, it said 1 second. That's why I said I don't know if she got the shot off in time because of the hesitation, because she lost it when the pass came in.
Right.
Oh. Good stuff. Let's get in the top 5 rankings. Then we can turn our attention back to that before we call it a show. Nobody dropped out this week on the men's side. Top 5, everything stayed the same there. We did have some receiving votes. Those top 5 teams that changed a little bit. You have Texas Southern Tigers, as they do about this time of the year. They close out strong, 12-6. Alabama State Hornets, a surprise in terms of a top 10 team, 12-6 in terms of conference play there in the SWAC. Alcorn State Braves finished at 11-7 as they make their run as they get prepared for the postseason in terms of the tournament. Tennessee State Tigers, whose season comes to an end, they finished at 12-8 in terms of conference play. They went 1-1 in the OVC tournament. Did make it to the semifinals. Lost a tough one there, 2-point loss to the team SIUE that actually ended up winning the OVC championship. So that's one that they'll probably think about for a minute there in Nashville. FAMU Rattlers, 10-8, 24 points. They're right behind Tennessee State, finishing at 10-8 in terms of the SWAC. Let's look in the top 5 rankings here. Top 5 rankings, we have none other than Bethune-Cookman, the Wildcats, 13-5, 55 points. They do slide down a spot, although they did get a good season in the win over the Rattlers. Teams above them were making moves. At number 4, Norfolk State Spartans, 11-3. While they stumbled the week before, they closed out a season in the right way with a big win, necessary win that gave them a share of the MEAC championship. They do add a first place vote, 70 points, and they move up in the rankings after they defeated the Howard Bison. At number 3, you have Jackson State Tigers, 14-4, one first place vote, 87 points, but they remain in the 3 spot. Intriguing when you think about Jackson State Tigers with a really solid season. We'll see what it means for the tournament play. And number 2, you have South Carolina State Bulldogs, probably the surprise of many. They finish at 11-3 and earn a share of the MEAC championship. They have 4 first place votes, close out the season really strong in the MEAC, 102 points, but they remain at number 2 as they made their jump last week. At number 1, you have the Southern Jaguars, 15-3, 5 first place votes. They do lose a couple of first place votes, but they remain and hold on to the number 1 ranking with 5 first place votes, 103 points, and they remain at number 1. Going to you, Brian. Brian, what are your thoughts in the top 5 rankings in week number 10?
This might be blasphemous for me to say. I'm very interested in the thought process of Jackson State over Norfolk State. Norfolk State, a co-regular season champion. I could see moving them a spot behind South Carolina State, who has won 9 in a row and who recently beat them. Southern has lost 3 games by 3 points, and not one of those 3 losses was to Jackson State. So I guess, to me, the only flip I would make is probably, Norfolk State and Jackson State, would be the only flip, but it is what it is for the rest of it.
Yeah, I think you could make an argument certainly that Norfolk State could be higher. I think the problem you have is they lost 2 straight losses. Remember, they were at the top of the poll, and it vaulted them all the way down to 5 after losing 2 straight. They only played 1 game while Jackson played 2. Jackson won both of their games. So oftentimes teams won't necessarily fall if they're in a spot. As you see, they were 3 last week, but they didn't fall. Jackson State has won 6 straight games. So Norfolk State's lost 2 out of the last 3. When you think about it like that, Brian, does that change any of your thought process in the fact that Jackson State has won 6 straight while Norfolk State has lost 2 out of the last 3?
What? No, I mean, you know,
the salt is there, man.
I know. See, that's why, you know, I know I'm gonna get called a hater and all these other things. I mean, okay, it is what it is. I mean,
no, I think the question is more is like, you can have that after this, but that's why we do it. That's why we sit up in these chairs. People feel their way. But I always like to see how people are thinking when you add more stuff in there. Obviously,
but Doc, if this is the final regular season poll, doesn't winning, and I know, you know, Norfolk State had lost 2 games prior to winning the last game of the season to clinch a share of the regular season title, right? You know, Jackson State's 6-game winning streak didn't do anything for them in terms of getting the 1 seed or a regular season title. It's great. Hey, 6-game winning streak, and I'm not saying they don't belong in the top 5. I can understand somebody giving them a first place vote. No, I can't. But anyway, but still, I mean, I'm just okay. I'm, you know, I think when you get to the end, the fact that at the end of the season, the end of the regular season, shouldn't we look at the total body of work at the end of the regular season? That's all.
I think you look at it at the end of all the season, but not just the final season, because you have the tournament. So you're going to add those games. And then everybody's season doesn't end the same. So, like, how do you regulate that for A&T or, like, for OVC that plays a week early? For Tennessee State, how do you determine that when there's different ends of the season?
Wow. Well, what do you mean that there's different ends of different ends of the? I mean, this everybody's regular season.
Yeah, no. OVC was playing in their tournament.
OVC was doing their tournament last week.
Their season ended a week ago.
I guess
all teams that you're ranking in the division don't have the same ending date. So,
well, and that's another thing. Like, you know, okay, so since you brought up the OVC. I didn't see who was where was Tennessee State on the rankings. I looked past it because
if you look at it, they were the second to last team receiving votes.
Second to last, really? Okay, they were the 3 seed in the OVC, which is a higher rated conference than the MEAC and SWAC. Okay, and they made it to the semifinals of their conference. I think at this point in the season, that might put them ahead of Bethune-Cookman, in my opinion. But, you know, me saying that will say, oh, you hating on Bethune-Cookman. Okay, fine. I mean, whatever.
It's just the circumstance of them being at 5, Brian. That's all.
Yeah.
Now, I would flip 1 and 2, to be honest with you. If you're talking about wins, I mean, South Carolina State won 9 straight to the point where they got to share the MEAC title. I would flip 1 and 2. And, you know,
you have South Carolina State all the way at number 1. That's interesting.
I would flip 1 and 2. I think they're playing really well. I got them winning the MEAC tournament as well.
3 games by 1 loss, 1 point.
I think we need more crossover games. That's what
I do agree there. There's no question. That's what the BCIC should be bringing to us. It'd be nice to do it in out of conference play, but BCIC is what we can roll with now. We'll get a couple of them in the postseason.
At the end of the season. Also, it would be nice to have one during the beginning of the season, and maybe even during the season. A nice
MEAC SWAC challenge in basketball, man. Look, man, you can make this easy. It's easy peasy.
Yeah, I will say that Tennessee State did beat Alabama A&M 81-71. That was in Nashville. I don't know if that says a lot, but
they lost to Howard, though, if I recall correctly. I believe they lost to Howard.
I just don't see, while you look at the net ranking, OVC is higher than the SWAC, but I don't see the basketball that much different. I think if you put Tennessee State getting this argument, what do you see Tennessee State versus Southern's matchup? Who would you go with? I'm going to go starting with you, David. Tennessee State versus Southern. Who you got in mid-major? Neutral site.
I think I'll probably give it to Southern still. I think I'll get that one to Southern. But I think
right.
it'll be a very good game to watch.
That's a great question, Doc. I would probably give it to Southern from the simple fact that, oh Lord Jesus, every time I look up, I see a ball flying off the backboard instead of just hitting us. Jesus Christ.
This is pretty common.
Oh man.
You got raw emotion.
It's brutal to watch.
Oh, it's getting better, man. It's getting better. He's behind, so he don't see it all yet, but it's getting better. Order another round.
Now they're at the free throw line. Oh, because we fouled her after the.
It's about to go down, man. Valley has the lead right now with 54 seconds left.
Of course they have the lead. Of course they have the lead because again, we don't hold on to a lead for nothing. We
Oh my God, man! I can't.
Person about Vino.
Man, I tell you, we were up 3. Now we're down 1. That's a 4-0 run. Jiminy Christmas, man.
Yeah.
I tell you, this is brutal to watch. Brutal to watch. But back to the thing. The Tennessee State. I don't know. I would probably go with Southern. I think Southern. The fact that Southern's non-conference showed me that they can compete at a high level against other mid-majors would give me. If I had to. You said neutral side. I'd probably set the line at probably maybe 2.5, 3 points in favor of Southern, and I'd probably give them with Southern.
The debate for me is 5. I don't think it's 1. It's 5 for me.
Let me get you another one. South Carolina State and Tennessee State. Sticking with you, Brian, and then you, David. Brian, South Carolina State and Tennessee State.
If they were playing at this point in the season, I would go with South Carolina State.
I completely agree.
At this point in the season, I mean, they're just playing. 9 in a row. They're playing some really good basketball right now. I might roll with South Carolina State if it were this point in the season. And they too, South Carolina State, they too also won some mid-major games during the regular season too, if I'm not mistaken.
They still had a loss to Bethune-Cookman, which is not a bad loss if you agree with Bethune-Cookman being a top 5. If not, then you want to put Tennessee State in there, and it's not as good.
A healthy Bethune-Cookman is worthy of being a top 5 team.
In that case, we're done. We're done here then. We're done because that's it. Because if I had a debate, it would be 5. I don't think Tennessee State will beat Southern, South Carolina State. I don't know if it'll beat Jackson or Norfolk either. They might be able to clip Norfolk because this ain't the same Norfolk. But Bethune would be fascinating. I think Hampton's not getting enough love, but I can understand because their conference record is not nearly as good as these guys. But
this is the one I got to ask you, Dave. Southern Jaguars, South Carolina State. Where are you going?
Oh, South Carolina State. I'm picking South Carolina State. I think they're. I'm picking South. There's a reason why I said I would flip those two. I think South Carolina State's really good.
All right, at least you're staying true, Brian. You agreeing, or are you going in a different direction?
I might agree. Go with South Carolina State over Southern, head to head at this point in the season.
Yeah.
But David, you don't have. You have Tennessee State losing to all 5.
I have them definitely losing to Southern, South Carolina State, and Jackson State. I think that Norfolk. I think they could probably get Norfolk in the state that they are right now because Norfolk hasn't been playing that well down the stretch, and they could probably beat Bethune as well. So, I could argue them up to 4, but Norfolk will be a toss-up for me. Relax, Brian. It's okay. It's not okay. It's not okay. It's not okay. Your timeline is going to be crazy.
One possession. How many rebounds? Let me see. One. The girl threw the ball over the rim. 1. Jesus.
Look, man, y'all got the last shot. If y'all want the last shot, it all depends on if you want the last shot.
This is. I know coaches teach this. I'm surprised they didn't call a foul there. By the way, so a good no call by the officials. But my God, coaches talk about, you get in the huddle and coaches talk about rebound. And I tell young people this, rebounding is not just getting the ball off the rim or out of the air. It's establishing contact first. Then you go get the ball. Instead of just standing next to somebody around the paint, put your hip on somebody and move somebody 2 steps off of their spot and then go get the damn ball. All right. My God.
Man, I'm trying to hold on. I know David has to get out of here at 8. I was going to.
I'm literally like I literally just told my son to put his shoes on, but we can keep. I'm trying to hold this on. I want to catch the end of this.
Yeah,
my dog just got to be mad.
You want to play this out? Yeah, let's see.
I do. My dog just got to be mad about me being late tonight. It's just gonna be the breaks tonight. You know what I'm saying? You know. But I want to see this last play. I'm hoping it's the last play, but we'll see.
Oh my God, 24.5. Of course, this is how we live. This is all season. This is what we do. I mean, you know, we just and now it's time to execute. You know, coach got to draw the best play.
The way I see it, they won't be happy. They won't be a double overtime the way things are going.
Who would you have?
The bad part is Sabu, number 0 is going to have the ball. Number 0 is going to have the ball, but I don't know why Cheyenne doesn't get it. And honestly, I'm telling Cheyenne I need her to get to the lane, and she's got to be able to get a mid-range jump shot in.
I like the idea of the mid-range.
That's, I mean, 24 and 0 are your two. The scary part is if 22 is going to post up in the corner, if she gets it, she's going to shoot it because that's what she does. She already hit one earlier.
All right, we closing it out right now.
Oh my God!
And you got it.
Oh, Dave,
They're killing the clock.
Oh Lord, the whole killing the clock thing too. I'm not
pressing the clock. Drives, kicks out, shot, no good. Rebound, Valley. There's a foul. Valley foul. I mean, FAMU fouls. Valley about to go to the free throw line.
1.4 seconds left.
It did. Baseline jump. That's not what. Why a baseline jump shot? I don't.
Do they have any more timeouts? Does FAMU have any more timeouts? Don't look like they do.
Hard shot.
So that means if they miss the second free throw, that can pretty much kill the clock at that point.
Oh my God.
So you make the first one and purposely miss the second one.
She drives into triple coverage, kicks it out. I mean,
and then shoots.
Wide open jump shot.
Wide open shot. She just.
But I don't see her shoot. She doesn't shoot that baseline jump shot often. See, if anything, I'm telling Sabu, if Sabu drives to the basket, go throw the ball at the rim and try to get the foul call.
Bradley doesn't have their assistant coach. He might end up having a job.
1.4. There's not. I mean, there's no reason for Valley to make this. Honestly,
I just said they missed the second one and let the clock die, and we're done here. We're done in this town.
Well, you do have time to have a desperation shot. You make the shot, so you can guarantee that they do it.
These girls ain't no.
They made both shots. She made both free throws. 1.4 seconds left.
Just once you make it because if they do somehow hit the 3, you just tie.
We don't have.
Didn't even get a shot off. That's the game. Ball game. Valley wins 68-65.
Oh God. Oh, I'm sorry. I just hate to be.
My condolences to your timeline, Brian.
The inbound didn't even get a shot off.
They didn't get a shot off. Look at that, man. Shout out to Valley, man. I'm happy for him. Shout out to Valley.
Valley. Oh, Deuce. I got to talk to Deuce and Miles. Valley. Look, you moved. I was 68-65. He couldn't wait to post. What's up, Roy?
A.T. Roy is diabolical. Close FAMU.
Well, let's close it out. That's enough of dealing with Brian. It's tough. We don't want to have to show this too much. Thank you for listening to Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Make sure you share our podcast with your friends and colleagues. I am Dr. Kenyatta, the Dean of HBCU Sports, come from inside the lab in the College of HBCU Sports with Mike Washington, Charles Bishop. Guesting today was David L. Rhodes, Bryan Fulton. Again, we want to thank you for listening to Dr. Bill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington, Charles Bishop every Tuesday and Thursday at 6 o'clock. I'll be in Atlanta by the time we do the next show, so we'll see if we can get it live for you if we can find a way to do it in Atlanta. If not, we'll give you some updates. We look forward to Thursday as we get back into action. Obviously, you have the ONG You'll have a lot of conversation tomorrow in terms of the thoughts from this matchup and getting some updates. You do have the men's game next, so tune in for that. Things can get much better. Family pulls that out. You'll get a little bit of split decision, if you would. Again, we want to thank you for listening to Dr. Bill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Follow me at DRKENYATTA that's Facebook and Instagram. Inside the HBCU Sports Lab on Facebook and YouTube. Dream big. Continue to move forward. We will talk with you soon. David?
Of course.
Brian?
Lecture.
Dismissed.